provided to them in 2015 to apply for a new Aadhaar card. This is going to be now a standard operating procedure in the state from here on. That's what the government has said. The General Administration Department of the Assam government would be the nodal agency for implementing this decision to link Aadhaar cards with their NRC applications in the state. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said that if there was no application for the NRC, then the Aadhaar request would be immediately rejected and a report would be submitted to the central government. They say this is a bid to strengthen Aadhaar norms to arrest the influx of illegals on the border state. This new order, though, has triggered a massive political face-off because BJP's rivals are questioning the rationale behind it, even pointing to the limbo that the NRC exercise has been since 2019. The biggest reason for the state government to bring in this regulation was to rein in irregularities in the number of Aadhaar applications that were received, the Aadhaar cards that were being given out. There were 4 districts that were of particular concern, said the Chief Minister in Assam. Let's begin with Barpeta, where the state government said that 103.74% Aadhaar cards compared to the total population, which means 3.7% were unaccounted for. Where are these extra Aadhaar cards going? The same was the case for another district in Dhubri, where the figure stood at 103.48. In another 2 districts, that figure was over 100%, which means the population is at 100%. But in Morigaon, there were at least 1.76% more Aadhaar cards that were being given out. And in Nagaon, there were about a percentage more of Aadhaar cards that were given out. So where are these people getting these Aadhaar cards from? That's a concern that the state government was probing, which is why they decided to bring in this regulation. They say that they've put enough thought into this decision. They say that there is a surge of Bangladeshi refugees. The crisis continues to boil over in our neighborhood. In fact, Himanta Biswa Sarma had said that scores of infiltrators have been nabbed by Assam police, Tripura police and the BSF in just the last 2 months. That is why infiltration from Bangladesh is a big concern, and this decision will try and mitigate that. The state has also said that there is a concern that foreign individuals have procured these Aadhaar cards and there is a need to weed them out. Linking NRC to Aadhaar, the state government says, will invalidate those who procured these Aadhaar cards illegally. What it will also do is keep a check on foreigners that may be staying illegally in the state. Remember, the central government, the UIDI has often on record gone on to say that foreign individuals who do have an Aadhaar card, if they are illegally staying, which means they're past their visa here in India, then their Aadhaar cards would be looked at. Ensure benefits of government schemes are not misused. That's another concern that the state government seems to have raised. But the political war of words continues. The TMC and the Congress have raised hackles over this illegal influx of immigrants in Assam and what the government is doing about it. This decision to link NRC and Aadhaar is not kosher, says the opposition. So is this really a necessity or is this merely alarmist? That's what we ask on Plain Speak tonight.
असम में किसी को आधार कार्ड चाहिए तो उनका एनआरसी में नाम जरूरत होगा। अगर एनआरसी में नाम नहीं है तो आधार नहीं मिलेगा।
$1,600 odd crores was spent on completing NRC. But till today, the NRC has not been officially notified by the Registrar General of India, and it is the CM of Assam who has said that I do not accept this NRC. So is the NRC valid? Give us a statement of that on that, Chief Minister.
Let's open this up. Jayanta Kumar Goswami, spokesperson of Assam BJP, Professor Manojit Mandal, political analyst who backs the TMC, Ashwini Dubey, advocate Supreme Court, with us on this broadcast, R.K. Bhargav, former IG of the BSF, with us as well. Before we get into the politics of it, I want to get in R.K. Bhargav. R.K. Bhargav, the threat for any border state as far as influx of illegals is concerned is very real. In Assam, the Chief Minister has been raising these concerns for the last few years, especially in the last few months, after we saw what's happening in Bangladesh. This move by the state government to link NRC to getting Aadhaar cards, do you think that's a way to try and mitigate this crisis?
Just one thing, I will not go into the legality of NRC and Aadhaar card, whether it is applicable or not, that is a different issue. I will not
Sure.
discuss on that. But yes, I will comment on what could happen if sufficient actions are not taken to stop this immigration. And one of the method could be the NRC to stop the illegal immigrations. In Assam, right from the 1971, maybe prior to that also, the Bangladeshis, they started infiltration, coming into the Assam and occupying the char lands, small char land, then bigger char land, then they increased their number from 100 to 1000 and then thereafter to 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, they established a village, illegal village where no government authority, no bureaucrat could dare to get in, to make any sort of census, to make any sort of counting or anything. And these illegal immigrants, they slowly and slowly started occupying the land of the Assamese. And I tell you, Assamese people, they are very docile people. I visited them. They are very docile people. They just used to feel कि ओहो जो भी चल रहा है चलने दो लाहे 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 लाहे. They never bothered. Somebody is occupying their land. Somebody is pushing away from their jobs. They realized it much later, and by that time the immigration had reached such a magnitude that what Mr. Sarma is talking today should have been talked about a decade ago. Now the situation is such that number of the districts in Assam, they are now majority, they are habited majoritarily by Bangladeshi Muslims. And Hindus also. Before 71, there was a lot of influx of the Hindus and the Muslims also. But these Hindus and Muslims, they stayed together because they were all speaking Bangla. The Assamese and Bangla, they are different languages. So with the language, the unifying factor being the language, Hindus and Muslims, they stayed together. But as the number of Muslims increased, there was also a division between the Hindu and Muslims. And now the situation is such that Bangladeshi Muslims on one side and Assamese and Bangladeshi Hindus on one side. So now the situation in Assam is very complex, and unless suitable steps are not taken, perhaps it is going to worsen further.
So the situation is definitely alarming, but Jayanta Goswami, is this linkage of NRC and Aadhaar the solution? Many would say that this NRC that you're speaking of, what has happened in the last 5 years, that final list that was submitted in 2019, we still don't know what has happened to that. There were many people that were left out of it. Many cried foul of how even after about 1.9 million people being left out, there were still a lot of foreigners that made to that list.
Yes, NRC, regarding NRC, the state government have a stand because we need a correct NRC. Although the NRC was prepared under the supervision of the Honorable Supreme Court, but at the time of the Congress government, when the NRC's application were submitted and it was received by the NRC authority, at that time, what happened? The government, particularly the Congress government, during their tenure, some fake documents were issued to the illegal immigrants to submit their NRC before the NRC authority. And our government stand is that to review those particular areas like Dhuburi, Borpeta, 12 districts. These districts, the immigrants are now majority. Therefore, the government clear stand is that we need a correct NRC and we need the verification of those areas where suspected immigrants are successfully entered their name in the NRC. Therefore, the state government, yesterday's cabinet, took this decision that even if a person's name is in the NRC, when he applied for Aadhaar, an inquiry will conducted by the circle officer after after valid inquiry. If he found that he is actually he is the Indian origin or
But Mr.
Indian
Goswami,
citizen,
isn't
then he
that
will get the
logic and that argument
Aadhaar.
flawed in its inception? You say that there was an issue when it was conducted back then, and there were certain documents that seems to have made its way because the Congress was in power. There was a certain sort of conspiracy, like you say, that was going on under the Grand Old Party. But the NRC application number that you want is back from 2015.
No, see.
So if there was some
No.
conspiracy as far as documents fakery was concerned, then that would still continue, isn't it?
The yesterday's decision is something different. Yesterday's decision is that if any person is not applied for NRC, he cannot apply for Aadhaar. And those persons who applied in NRC and his name is in the NRC, but also a verification is necessary for him also. And therefore the verification point, it was adopted by the state government. After verification, any NRC will be any Aadhaar will be issued, and therefore the point of verification was indicated in the yesterday's cabinet decision. Therefore
Sure, verification needs to be done, but why link whether you were a part of NRC, whether you applied as part of NRC in 2015, were in the list of 2019 or not, be any reason to either get accepted or be rejected, Manojit Mandal, for an Aadhaar card?
No, I think the whole issue is completely botched up, by the BJP government in Assam since 2018 or 2019 itself. They could not complete this humongous exercise, and rather the valid citizens were still struggling, languishing in some of the detention camps. As you rightly pointed out, 1.9 billion of them. And most of them were actually Hindus. Many people who migrated from Bihar as laborers in the tea gardens, even they were, chucked out of the valid list of NRC. So based on a completely incomplete and illegal exercise, as it were, on what ground now they are asking that the Aadhaar will be given only if you have applied for NRC? You have not completed that exercise. I mean, do you have the final list of who are the valid citizens of this country are living in Assam? The answer is clear no. For the last 4 or 5 years, they have not done anything. Rather, I've been saying this for a very long period of time. Rather, when they found that many of the Hindus, which actually their principal, vote banks, they were left out. They brought this bill of, CAA just from the back door, even if they are from Bangladesh, they just wanted to give them citizenship, through back door. And that's why this, whole exercise of CAA was proposed, and it was done at the behest of Mr. Himanta Sarma. He had that very famous meeting in 2019 after Mr. Amit Shah became the Home Minister. Everyone knows. And thereafter, CAA was proposed in the Parliament. So it was very clear on their part that the whole exercise of NRC was a political one. Nonetheless, it was a flawed and incomplete one. And on the basis of that, you cannot deprive the real citizens of this country. Yes, because they have not applied for NRC, which again, I repeat, an incomplete task, you cannot deprive them of their Aadhaar cards and other rights. This is absolutely unacceptable, and the government must step in. The government of India and in fact, the Supreme Court must step in, because NRC was being done under the supervision of Supreme Court. And I don't know what has happened in the last
2019
4,
is
5
when that
years.
final list, Mr. Goswami, was apparently made. It's still not public. We had the Supreme Court just recently uphold the Section 6A as far as the citizenship is concerned, as far as the Assam Accord is concerned.
No,
Why is that list still secret?
No, see, Mr. Biswa is factually incorrect, because he stated that
That was Manojit Mandal who was speaking before you.
Yes, Mr. Mandal is factually incorrect, because the no person from the no tea garden tree tribes are deprived from entering their name in the NRC. It is basically our tea gardens are basically situated in the Upper Assam, and in the from the Upper Assam there is no such type of allegation for missing their name in the NRC. Therefore, you are he is factually very much incorrect.
I'll
At the
rebut.
same
I'll
time,
rebut.
see, just wait. No. Aadhaar card. All the people from the T tribes area of Upper Assam are getting their Aadhaar cards. You are factually very much incorrect. But at the same time, what happened? We actually our demand is that to review the NRC list of those people whose name was entered.
But how are
in
you
the,
going to review that list when that list in itself is
Can I
not
rebut you?
public?
No,
We
that
don't
was-
know
that
what
was
that list
public.
has.
No, that was the list was published, but it was not notified. Notification
years.
was no. After
5 years
after-
ago, it was finalized, but
No,
still not been
after
notified.
Final verdict of the Honorable Supreme Court, it will be notified by the Registrar General. But before that, the state government stand is that to review review those names those name of the immigrants.
So if
those
you're
are
waiting,
successful.
for the Supreme Court to hear the case, finally come out and say what they have to say, and the list to eventually be
File
made
the
public,
review petition.
and that
We
exercise
file
will
the
then
review petition.
happen when that happens of this review. Why are we even talking about it now? But Manojit Mandal, quick rebuttal because you have your hand up before I get in
First
Ashwini
of
Dubey
all,
as well.
There are innumerable tea gardens even in the Barak Valley, my dear friend. That's
No,
not exactly Upper
No.
Assam.
You are factually incorrect.
Hang on, let me
Okay,
speak
let him,
now.
Mr. Goswami, let him, Mr. Goswami, let him finish, please.
Tea gardens
Let me
belongs to
speak.
the Upper Assam.
Mr.
You
Goswami,
are
you made your
that-
point,
that-
please
that
let
is
him
not the
finish.
point.
I'll come back to you for your rebuttal. Let him finish his point, please.
I
Manojit
lived in
Mandal.
Assam for a long period of time. My simple point was, why don't you spell out of these 12 lakh Hindus whose names are not there in your list of NRC, where do they come from? Why don't you spell it out? We know that there are out of this 1.9 million, 12 lakhs are Hindus. Where do they come from? Please spell that out. And you took
But see,
6 years to spell that out. Where do they come from?
All the documents were
Most of them are Indian.
were
Most of them
issued
are
by
Indian.
the Congress
And
government.
whereas actually the
Congress
illegal
government is liable
immigration,
for
they have made into the
liable
list.
for an incorrect NRC.
No,
You
tell
should
me,
remember
why the population in the border districts are getting into NRC? Mostly the border
No,
districts
see,
are getting into NRC
at
because
that
they have
time,
bribed
Congress
these
was in
NRC
power,
people who are
was in
living
power
in
in Assam,
and they are made into the list. Where the genuine
issued
citizens are
some
out of the
fake
list.
document
What
to
are you
those
talking about?
immigrants,
And if
and
they are
therefore,
not, then please
due
bring
to
out the list.
receive of
Please
that
bring
fake
out the
document
list
from
as
the
soon as
government
possible.
offices, the immigrants are successfully entered their name in the NRC.
Why don't you put this list in the Supreme Court and bring it out that who are these 12 lakh Hindus who
Dr.
are out of
Himanta
the
Biswa
NRC?
Sarma demand
First draft of
for
NRC.
review of that area. This is the facts.
You are
Okay,
talking
Mr.
about
Goswami.
an
Okay, Mr.
absurdity.
Goswami, tell me this.
I am
Tell me
simply
this.
asking you,
okay.
please bring out the list of the names.
Sure.
Of
A,
the
that
Hindus
list needs to be
who
out
are
if
left
you
out
want
of
to
the
review.
NRC.
Secondly, Mr. Goswami, when the Section 6A was upheld by the Supreme Court recently, they also did direct the state government to identify and take appropriate action against illegals. Yes?
Yes.
Has anything
Yes.
been done after that?
They have made into the list. I tell you, they have
Has
made into the
anything
list.
been done after
Maximum
that?
border districts.
Because you
people have
keep
been made
okay.
into the list.
Manojit Mandal, just a second. Mr. Goswami, you said you're waiting for the Supreme Court to come out and tell you what to do, the Registrar General to come out and notify the list, and then you'll find out. But here the Supreme Court has given you a free hand to identify and act against these illegals while upholding Section 6A. What has the state government done?
The decision, regarding the decision of 6A, Article 6A, the Supreme Court directed the state government to identify the illegal immigrants, those were declared. But now the position is that those are successfully.
And how many of them have been identified? How many of them have you petitioned with the central government to be deported?
No. Now the question is that those are successfully entered their name in the NRC due to the fake documents which is issued by the
Sure,
Congress
but
government.
again, unless
We have
that
to
list
find
is
out
out
those
and unless that
persons.
list is public, you wouldn't know who these people are who've made it to that
No,
NRC list,
already
apparently
the-
illegally.
the-
But what
the-
about those who are illegally there?
Yes.
How have you
Yes,
identified them?
no,
Have you
very
made
much so.
have you made a list of X
They've
number of
bribed
people,
into the
given
list.
it to the central government, which
definitely,
also is a
definitely.
BJP government, and asked them to be
government will
deported?
do. No, the government will do. The pushback policy is there. The government will do. The government will do.
They
The
bribed in,
government
they
will
bribed to make into the
by
list.
those
They
people.
bribed to make into the
But
list.
yesterday's decision is that to
Okay, so
protect
let's stick.
from
Sure. So let's stick
those
about
new
yesterday's
entrants.
decision itself. Ashwini Dubey, is this decision to link NRC to getting a new Aadhaar card, is that legally tenable? Can this be challenged in a court of law? And if it is, then will it have any legal standing for the state government to defend it?
So far as it is with respect to the demographic changes and resource allocation, then I must say the state government is right. But if making an Aadhaar of somebody concerned as per the guidelines, one has stayed in the country for more than 180 days, is entitled to get the Aadhaar. If you remember the 6A Citizenship Act, which was upheld by the Honorable Supreme Court, the validity, what the Constitution Bench judgment says, that the Indian citizens include those who came to India before July the 1948, and then also the Citizenship Act was amended with the addition of Section 6A, which is applicable exclusively to Assam. And if it is so, you remember the Honorable Supreme Court's 4-1 majority judgment. Supreme Court says that yes, to have a look with respect to identify those foreigners, illegal immigrants, and the immigrants of this country, there has to be an exercise. Now, if you see, there is existing statutory regime which says that there are 3 classes of persons residing in India: citizens, illegal immigrants, and foreigners on valid visas. How will you identify between the illegal immigrants who are using the resources? That's the question, Poonam. And if it is so, then the state government is very much right in bringing an ordinance or bringing a notification that you have to come with the NRC, then only your name will be entered into it. So far as the Supreme Court judgment, if you see, the Supreme Court judgment and Assam agitation, which was driven by the concerns that unchecked migration from Bangladesh was threatening Assam's identity, undermining employment opportunities, and placing a heavy demographic burden on the state's indigenous communities. And that is why the Assam Accord was created within 3 categories of migrants. One, those who entered Assam before January 1660, and then who would be deemed Indian citizens. 2, those who arrived between January 1, 1966 and March 24, 1971, the end of Bangladesh Liberation War, and those who could claim citizenship but won't be allowed to vote, and those arriving after March 25. Now, we have to segregate and look into it. If this exercise or the notification which has been passed by the state government is with respect to identify those, that is, and bringing the NRC in the middle, then that is right. But so far as straight away denying them to have Aadhaar card, that is out of the legislative domain. Over to you.
So if this is challenged in court, there is a very high chance the state government would not be able to defend it. That's the gist of what you're saying, if I got that correct, Ashwini Dubey? That their rationale may be, their heart may be in the right place, so to say, but the way they've gone about doing it, that may not stand legal scrutiny.
Only having Aadhaar card, of course, will not be having a legal scrutiny. But if they say that they are underlying this exercise with respect to the judgment, and now let me tell you, Mr. Vishwas, the Supreme Court judgment is final. It is not the state government, the central government, that it is to be notified with the executive. Registrar General has to write it. Supreme Court has passed the judgment that 6A applicable exclusively to Assam was very right. And that was with respect to maintain this,
and the Registrar General hasn't notified the final list of the NRC that's been in limbo for the last 5 years as well. So what happens to that? And that it's not just about a mammoth exercise being conducted once again, it's also the cost. About 1,600 crores was spent on that kind of exercise. Do we have the kind of resources to do that all over again? That's a question that needs to be answered. What happens to the data that has already been collected? Is this merely a rhetoric that's being whipped up, or can the state government actually back it with facts? And if there is a legal challenge to it, can they defend it effectively? That's what the state government needs to look into. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have here on this edition of Plain Speak. I thank you all gentlemen for joining us here and sharing your perspective. We are shifting focus though to some breaking news that's now coming in. This is to do with what's transpiring in the parliament. Tomorrow, as you know, has been earmarked for the constitution debate that is going to take place in the Lok Sabha. What sources have now told us is that 12 hours have been allocated for that discussion. Prime Minister Modi is going to be replying on Saturday. perhaps towards the end of the debate, which is expected to be at about 5 p.m. on Saturday. That's what we're given to understand. Out of the 12 hours that have been earmarked for this, the BJP has been given close to 5 hours. That, of course, is dependent on how many members of parliament one particular party has, and that decides how much time is allocated to each of them. Given the strength of the BJP, of the NDA in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha specifically, 5 hours have been allocated for them. Payal, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Payal, what more can you tell us? What can we expect tomorrow and day after?
Well, after the 0 hour, I beg your pardon, after the question hour that begins at 11 o'clock in the morning in the Lok Sabha, after which there will be no 0 hour. Immediately they will start with a discussion on the 75 years of India's constitution. After which, of course, on Saturday at around 5 o'clock, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be replying to the debate, which means he'll be the last speaker on the debate as well. You can expect him to, answer all the questions that the opposition parties will be asking, and of course, expressing his own idea of what India's 75 years of Indian constitution really means. But you can expect it to be a heated affair, given the fact that the opposition has been gunning for the Prime Minister on the issue of constitution for a very, very long time, especially with the Congress party making this an issue in the Lok Sabha elections. And even now, in one of these days, in the protest in Parliament, was seen moving around with a copy of the Constitution, essentially saying that the Constitution is in danger. So that's how the proceedings are listed. Since BJP is the number one party in terms of numbers,
right,
the BJP and its speakers will get about 5 hours time, is what we're given to understand. The party is yet to decide whether they would field in a senior minister in the government like Rajnath Singh to open the debate for them, or probably put in another few leaders to speak on the same. That remains to be seen, but we do know for a matter of fact that on Monday, when the debate begins in the Rajya Sabha, the debate will begin with the speech of the Honorable Home Minister Amit Shah.
Right. In fact, we're given to understand that senior ministers are in a huddle at 7 LKM, which is the residence of the Prime Minister, before that constitution debate is taken up in the Parliament tomorrow. For the moment, though, Payal, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. It's time for a quick break here on Plain Speak, but on the other side, we'll get you the abduction story of two comedians, two celebrities associated with Bollywood. Why exactly is this happening? What's the inside story? We'll tell you.
MDH का किचन
बच्चा को इंसाफ दिलवा दीजिए, बस और कुछ नहीं चाहिए। आपसे तुम्हें छोड़ो, अभी बच्चे से नहीं मिले टॉर्चर किया हम लोग को, वो भी टॉर्चर किया। पर मेरा बच्चा अपने ऊपर सब लेके अपना, मेरा बच्चा सब बर्दाश्त किया, हम लोग को भी नहीं सहने दिया। अपना कष्ट अपने झेलता रहा, अंदर ही अंदर घुट गया, एकदम बर्दाश्त से बाजुल कर दी। मेरा बच्चा एकदम अंदर से टूट गया था रे बाप रे बाप। मेरा बच्चा अंदर से बिल्कुल टूट गया था। इतना टॉर्चर हुआ मेरा बच्चा कि टूट गया एकदम अंदर से।
अभी मीडिया का ही तेरा है क्या हुआ? बस लाश कहाँ?
मेरा बच्चा अंदर से बिल्कुल टूट गया।
आपके बेटा आपको कुछ बताए थे क्या हुआ था और हो क्या रहा था सर? क्यों ऐसा डिसीजन लिए हैं?
हमारा बेटा हमको कहता था कि पापा हम जाते हैं कोर्ट में तो हमारे पास हमको जो है सो पूरा जस्टिस नहीं मिलता है। वहाँ हर आदमी हमको जो है सो कानून व्यवस्था के अंतर्गत कोई काम नहीं होता है, और ये नियम से चलने वाला, कानून से चलने वाला आदमी था, लेकिन ये कभी भी जो है सो वहाँ की कानून व्यवस्था को एकदम मानता था कि एकदम खत्म है।
सर क्या बताए थे सर आपके बेटा? इससे पहले आपकी जो बात हुई थी, कब बात हुई थी और क्या हुआ क्या था?
मार्च के महीना में वो गया था। मार्च के महीना के बाद जब आया ना तो कहा कि पापा वहाँ का जो मीडिएशन का जो जज हैं, चाहे जो भी लोग है, वकील है, चाहे जज है, जो भी है, वो वहाँ की कानून व्यवस्था जो लॉ है अपने भारत का, उस लॉ से नहीं चलता है। लोग उस लॉ को मानता ही नहीं है। जो ये बता रहा था कि इस धारा में ये लॉ होना चाहिए, तो वो उसको हाई कोर्ट के, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के लॉ को भी नहीं मानता था।
क्या बोले थे आपके बेटा आपको? उनको हो क्या रहा था?
उनको कुछ नहीं, उनको तो 40 बार बेंगलोर, कम से कम 40 बार गया होगा बेंगलोर से बड़ा जौनपुर, और माने इतनी धारा उस पर, एक खत्म हो जाता था केस तो दूसरा लगा देती थी। इस बात के कारण जो है तो भीतर से फ्रस्ट्रेट था, लेकिन हम लोग को महसूस नहीं होने दिया कि क्या है नहीं है। एकाएक हम लोग को खबर गई है कि वो अपना पूरा मेल वगैरह हमारे छोटे लड़के को रात में किया है 1:30 बजे 2 बजे, हमारे पास 3 बजे उसका फोन आया है। उसके बाद हम लोग कैसे कैसे करके वहाँ से पटना आए हैं, एयरपोर्ट पटना से बेंगलोर पहुँचे 4 बजे शाम में।
मतलब सर आप जानते हैं कि उनके फैमिली कुछ जो अपने वाइफ के ऊपर और उनके फैमिली के ऊपर जो इल्ज़ाम लगाए हैं सच है वो सारे?
एकदम 100% सच है, 100% सच है। उसमें एक आध इल्ज़ाम छूट गया हो तो भले, लेकिन जितना इल्ज़ाम को याद होगा उतना लगाया हो तो एकदम सही है।
मतलब आपके बेटा हेरासमेंट
बहुत हेरासमेंट था उसके साथ। हमारी वाइफ 4 महीना रही है, इसको डायबिटीज नहीं थी। वहाँ के टेंशन को देख के वो देखती थी, वहाँ की जो स्थिति है उसको देख करके इसको डायबिटीज हो गई।
मतलब आपके बेटे के अतुल के साथ रहती थी?
हाँ, नहीं गई थी, उसको प्रेग्नेंट थी तो हमारी वाइफ को हमने भेजा था। अकेले हम रहते थे वहाँ बिहार में, इसको भेजा था कि वहाँ पर मदद करना है बहू की। वहाँ का जो देखती थी ना, उसका जो आचार विचार, इसको देख करके थोड़ा सा इसको भी बहुत टेंशन होता था, लेकिन ये बोलती नहीं थी। हमारे लड़कों को अब कितना टेंशन होता होगा हम नहीं बता सकते हैं।
8 months after separation, they filed a divorce case against him, and lot of charges against him were charged in different acts and different acts and different sections. Even not only on my brother, even on me, even on my old parents, all of them were charged against the dowry and all. Many type of cases were there. So basically I want to tell you that these everything in the system is for women, not for men. Every laws in India are for.
Welcome back. In the past month, 2 Indian comedians came face to face with a cruel twist of fate. Both abducted, allegedly tortured and extorted before their ordeal came to an end. Mushtaq Khan, who's best known for his role in Welcome in Street 2, was the latest one to share this ordeal. This comes days after Sunil Pal, another well-known stand-up comedian and an actor, was invited to perform at an event in Haridwar but was abducted and allegedly held hostage for 24 hours before being released. In fact, now investigators have found eerie similarities between these two cases and are investigating a possible connection. They are suspecting that the same gang may be behind both these incidents. So here's what transpired in the latest one with actor Mushtaq Khan. It's an invite to an award show that turned out clearly to be on the wrong side of the law. Actor Mushtaq Khan said he was called for an award show in Meerut on the 20th of November. He was given an advance amount that was transferred to his account. The flight tickets were sent by the organizers of this event as well. When the actor landed in Delhi, he was asked to step into a car and was soon driven to Bijnor. The actor claims that the kidnappers tortured him for close to 12 hours. They asked for 1 crore rupees as ransom. The actor claims that these kidnappers eventually took more than 2 lakh rupees from the actor and his son's account and let him go. He added that the next morning, when he heard the morning azan, he realized that a mosque was close by and he can escape. Actor Mushtaq Khan then sought help from the people there once he had escaped from captivity, eventually returned home after help from the police. Now, Mushtaq Khan has filed an FIR and submitted his flight ticket as proof of bank accounts of the transfer amount as well. The cops are now scanning the CCTV footage near the airport as well. His abduction holds an uncanny resemblance to what happened to comedian Sunil Pal. He alleged that he received a call inviting him to perform at a birthday party in Haridwar in Uttarakhand. He claimed that the organizers even transferred an advance payment to confirm the deal. He too landed here in the national capital. That happened on the 2nd of December. He was en route to the venue when they stopped for snacks. At this point, he claims a man pretending to be his fan pushed him into a car and drove him away. Sunil Pal says that the kidnappers then blindfolded him, took him to a 2-story house where several others were present as well. He says that these kidnappers then started to threaten him. They demanded 20 lakh rupees as ransom. The kidnappers began bargaining when Sunil Pal told him that was not an acceptable amount. There was no way he could have given them that much. Sunil Pal told them that he didn't even carry his ATM card. He then recalled using his phone. He arranged some funds via his friends. He says, I gave them 8 lakh rupees when they finally agreed to let me go. Even handed me 20,000 rupees for flight tickets so he could return home. Now, though the comedian has recorded his statement with the police, he claims the kidnappers deleted all call records from his phone so that they could not trace him. In fact, there is a viral video now that's doing the rounds as well that has put the spotlight on Sunil Pal himself, if this was a publicity stunt. Well, the investigations continue there and we'll keep a track of that. But for now, time for a quick break on this edition of Plain Speak. Coming up on the other side, the controversy that's erupting in the national capital ahead of assembly elections. The AAP versus BJP fight over voter data deletion.
बच्चा को इंसाफ दिलवा दीजिए, बस और कुछ नहीं चाहिए। आपसे तुम्हें छोड़ो, ये बच्चे से नहीं मिल रहे टॉर्चर किया हम लोग को, वो भी टॉर्चर किया, पर मेरा बच्चा अपने ऊपर सब लेके अपना, मेरा बच्चा सब बर्दाश्त किया, हम लोग को भी नहीं सहने दिया, अपना कष्ट अपने झेलता रहा, अंदर ही अंदर घुट गया, एकदम बर्दाश्त से बाजुल कर दी, मेरा बच्चा एकदम अंदर से टूट गया था रे बाप रे बाप, मेरा बच्चा अंदर से बिल्कुल टूट गया था, इतना टॉर्चर हुआ मेरा बच्चा कि टूट गया एकदम अंदर से।
अभी मीडिया का ही तेरा है क्या हो?
बस लाश
कहाँ
मेरा बच्चा अंदर से बिल्कुल टूट गया।
आपके बेटा आपको कुछ बताए थे क्या हुआ था और हो क्या रहा था सर, क्यों ऐसा डिसीजन लिए है?
हमारा बेटा हमको कहता था कि पापा हम जाते हैं कोर्ट में तो हमारे पास हमको जो है सो पूरा जस्टिस नहीं मिलता है, वहाँ हर आदमी हमको जो है सो कानून व्यवस्था के अंतर्गत कोई काम नहीं होता है, और ये नियम से चलने वाला, कानून से चलने वाला आदमी था, लेकिन ये कभी भी जो है सो वहाँ की कानून व्यवस्था को एकदम मानता था कि एकदम खत्म है।
सर क्या क्या बताए थे सर आपके बेटा, इससे पहले आपकी जो बात हुई थी, कब बात हुई थी और क्या हुआ क्या था?
मार्च के महीना में वो गया था, मार्च के महीना के बाद जब आया ना तो कहा कि पापा वहाँ का जो मीडिएशन का जो जज हैं, चाहे जो भी लोग है, वकील है, चाहे जज है, जो भी है, वो वहाँ की कानून व्यवस्था जो लॉ है अपने भारत का, उस लॉ से नहीं चलता है, लोग उस लॉ को मानता ही नहीं है। जो ये बता रहा था कि इस धारा में ये लॉ होना चाहिए, तो वो उसको हाई कोर्ट के, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के लॉ को भी नहीं मानता था।
क्या बोले थे आपके बेटा आपको, उनको हो क्या रहा था?
उनको कुछ नहीं, उनको तो 40 बार बेंगलोर, कम से कम 40 बार गया होगा बेंगलोर से बना जौनपुर, और माने इतनी धारा उस पर, एक खत्म हो जाता था केस तो दूसरा लगा देती थी। इस बात के कारण जो है तो भीतर से फ्रस्ट्रेट था, लेकिन हम लोग को महसूस नहीं होने दिया कि क्या है नहीं है। एकाएक हम लोग को खबर गई है कि वो अपना पूरा मेल वगैरह हमारे छोटे लड़के को रात में किया है, 1:30 बजे 2 बजे, हमारे पास 3 बजे उसका फ़ोन आया है। उसके बाद हम लोग कैसे कैसे करके वहाँ से पटना आए हैं, एयरपोर्ट पटना से बेंगलोर पहुँचे 4 बजे शाम में।
मतलब सर आप जानते हैं कि उनके फैमिली कुछ जो अपने वाइफ के ऊपर और उनके फैमिली के ऊपर जो इल्ज़ाम लगाए हैं, सच है वो सारे?
एकदम 100% सच है, 100% सच है। उसमें एक आध इल्ज़ाम छूट गया हो तो भले, लेकिन जितना इल्ज़ाम को याद होगा उतना लगाया हो तो एकदम सही है।
मतलब आपके बेटा हेरासमेंट
बहुत हेरासमेंट था उसके साथ। हमारी वाइफ 4 महीना रही है, इसको डायबिटीज नहीं थी, वहाँ के टेंशन को देख के वो देखती थी, वहाँ की जो स्थिति है उसको देख करके इसको डायबिटीज हो गई।
मतलब आपके बेटे के अतुल के साथ रहती थी?
हाँ, नहीं गई थी, उसको प्रेग्नेंट थी तो हमारी वाइफ को हमने भेजा था, अकेले हम रहते थे वहाँ बिहार में, इसको भेजा था कि वहाँ पर मदद करना है बहू की। वहाँ का जो देखती थी ना, उसका जो आचार विचार, इसको देख करके थोड़ा सा इसको भी बहुत टेंशन होता था, लेकिन बोलती नहीं थी। हमारे लड़के को अब कितना टेंशन होता होगा हम नहीं बता सकते हैं।
The 8 months after separation, they filed a divorce case against him, and a lot of charges against him were charged in different acts and different acts and different sections. Even not only on my brother, even on me, even on my old parents, all of them all of them were charged against the dowry and all. Many type of cases were there. So basically, I want to tell you that these everything in the system is.
Thank you for staying with us here on Plain Speak. Delhi elections are just around the corner. Just 2 months to go, and there is a fresh war of words between the ruling Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Arvind Kejriwal has accused the BJP of orchestrating a mass voter deletion conspiracy ahead of these elections. The national convener of the Aam Aadmi Party said that he has proof of this conspiracy over 3,000 pages long, all of which has been submitted to the Election Commission, and asked them to take appropriate action. The Aam Aadmi Party has demanded that an immediate halt be ensured to such mass deletions. He's also called for FIRs to be filed against those that are submitting such applications for data to be deleted. They said that the poll body has given them 4 to 5 assurances. In fact, Arvind Kejriwal followed that visit up with a letter to the CEC today, highlighting those assurances that were made to them in that meeting. But that hasn't stopped the political fight from escalating, because the BJP has responded in equal measure. In fact, the BJP is going to be taking its own delegation to the Election Commission tomorrow. But the Aam Aadmi Party's allegations come at a time when the Delhi Election Office has already explained why this deletion happens, how the entire process goes on. The EC said that if an elector has permanently relocated or has passed away, any elector from the same constituency has the right to file a Form 7 to object to any of these entries being a part of the electoral roll. When that Form 7 is filed, notices are issued to both the one that's objecting it and the one that is subjected to this objection. That is done via speed post. Responses are required to be given by both these sides. If there is a failure from any of those sides to respond to these notices, then it results in the elector's name to be deleted. The Electoral Registration Officer has the responsibility to adhere to the prescribed procedures before deleting any of these names and ensuring that the concerned elector is given ample amount of time to respond. There is certain preconditions that the Aam Aadmi Party has also set for any of these deletions as per the letter that Arvind Kejriwal has written. So this entire voter data deleted, not deleted storm, is this merely a political conspiracy and a political gimmick, or is this actually happening? Before we go into that debate, we have big breaking news that's coming in. D. Gukesh has been crowned the new world champion. He's won the FIDE World Chess Championship is what we're given to understand. It was a complete thriller, but D. Gukesh has become the youngest ever world champion. He was facing Ding Liren in game 14 of the World Championship. Gukesh was in black, Liren is in white, but as far as the decider went, Gukesh started out on a strong note, ending on the strongest note possible as well. Anand Narasimhan joining us, getting us. Anand, this couldn't have been any more of a proud moment for D. Gukesh, for the entire country.
Yes, he's the youngest ever champion in the history of the World Chess Championship, and only the second Indian Grandmaster after Viswanathan Anand to win the World Championship title. So history has been made, and beautifully, it's gone right down to the wire. It's game 14 of the World Chess Championship, and that's when this has happened. And it's just phenomenal, because coming into this final, after about 13 matches, they were both on level grounds at 6.5 points each. Each one not wanting to cede space, but Gukesh's preparation against Ding Liren coming to the fore in the likes of game 11, where he came back from the brink, and it also took Ding Liren's team by surprise the way Gukesh played, and he credited his entire team, Gukesh, for the kind of preparation that they had got. And point is, it came right down to the wire. A draw wouldn't do, because both of them were tied, and game 14 was a do or die. And Ding was playing with the white pieces. Like you said, it was Gukesh with the black, so Ding had the advantage of starting first, but Gukesh then really upping the game and not flinching, not breaking. And I think that mental strength coming out when the intent came. And he countered this entire tried and tested Dingleren's London opening, and then opting for this reverse Grand Prix. So it just showed the kind of preparation at the back end that happened, and there was a trading of moves initially. Both knew what the other would do, and I think some standard moves happened fast, and then slowly I think it got down when Gukesh started building up the pieces, and each trying to play the mind games. And Ding Liren is the reigning world champion, and Ding was also trying to test Gukesh, and clearly he had come prepared for the final. But Gukesh keeping his composure, outthinking, outmaneuvering, and at the end of it, I think Gukesh very, very clearly waiting. And after 30 moves, both players opting to enter this entire end game of the game. And that's when they traded rooks, then they traded the queens, the pace going up, and eventually I think the defending champion pushed to his absolute limits, and that's where he crumbled. And Gukesh really,
it was actually
really
at move 55 is what we're learning, Anand, as far as the game went. At move 55 was when Ding Liren decided to make that move. That was the biggest blunder of the game. Immediately, as soon as he made that move, he seems to have realized what happened. He then resigns to his fate, gets up, shakes D. Gukesh's hand. He's given up on the hope. He knows that this game is lost.
Yes, because it was time trouble. See, it was after that 30th move when that rapid exchange of rooks and queens happened, and the move started going up, and then suddenly, because it was end game, Ding Liren spending more time to think about his next move, of the possibilities, and he was on a clock, and with just 10 minutes left at his end on the clock, he was on the one under pressure, because Gukesh had more than 60 minutes on the clock for his set of time, because Gukesh had been playing his moves fast. It was Ding Liren who time and again was left somewhere flustered, and that's where I think towards the end Ding Liren cracked, and he knew that there was no other go. And like you said, so from move 30 onwards to move 55, it all started moving very fast in Gukesh's favor, and towards the end it was also time trouble. And when you're racing against time, you end up making mistakes, and that was the big blunder that you mentioned in the 55th move that handed the world championship to D. Gukesh, the youngest world champion in the World Chess Championship history. But more importantly, it's the second time an Indian grandmaster has become the world champion. Second after Viswanathan Anand. Viswanathan Anand is for him his guru. He does not even sit when Viswanathan Anand is around. That's how Gukesh is. And we've seen the kind of respect that Viswanathan Anand gets from these players, including Pragnanand and Gukesh, and he's been mentoring them. So credit to Vishy Anand also for the kind of preparation.
Absolutely. Sorry to interrupt you there, Anand, but Praveen Thipse, former Grandmaster, also joining us. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. In fact, we're bringing these visuals coming in of D. Gukesh, that winning moment actually. Sir, if you are also seeing this, and you can see the emotions that are running high. He knows he's won the game, and what a moment it is.
Yes, indeed. I think a fantastic moment for sure for entire country, or for the world itself, because we are seeing a world champion who has broken the record of Garry Kasparov by 4 years and 3 months, I believe.
Second Indian Grandmaster to win the FIDE Championship, the youngest ever at 18. If you've been tracking how D. Gukesh has been performing, he's had a phenomenal run in the recent past, isn't it?
Yes, in fact, Gukesh was a talent which was probably detected much earlier by Indian players, but at the same time, the real opportunity which Gukesh got to play at the best players in the world was the Olympiad in 2022, where at the age of 16, he got gold medal on the top board, and he played all the top players. And Magnus Carlsen was able to get only the bronze medal on that day, in that tournament. So I think that was the beginning of the sort of realization that he was going to be one of the best players in the world. In fact, he is one of the few players who has gained rating point in every tournament for last 2 years. And this Olympiad particularly was much better than the previous Olympiad, although in 2022 also he was the best performer, gold medal on the top board. And here he scored gold medal on the top board again. And throughout he has been leading, and the candidates was a very impressive score. So if we look at the general opinion before the match, everybody says that Gukesh was going to win hands down, and probably in just 12 games instead of 14, because that was the way he was playing. One of the strongest players in the history he has become, and that is what was seen by this match. That though he missed a few games and he could have won by a larger margin, but yes, he has established himself as one of the greatest players of all times by becoming a world champion at the age of 18 years and 6 months.
Absolutely. Praveen Tipse, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Another chess grandmaster, Krishnan Sasikaran, joining us on this broadcast as well. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Did you follow the game, the 55th move where victory was D. Gukesh's?
Playing it live, yeah. And of course, the exchange of rooks followed by the immediate exchange of bishops, and the king and pawn ending easily won, yeah. I think this is...
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me say congratulations. The new world champion.
Thank you.
This position to all seemed like a draw, and somehow you kept pushing. What was your moment, your feeling, the moment he played Rook F2? You must have wanted, you looked like you wanted to jump out of the chair.
Actually, when he played Rook F2, I didn't realize that. I mean, I was going to play Rook B3 almost. But then I saw that this bishop is actually getting trapped, and after King E1, I have King E5 in the pawn ending, which is just winning. I mean, when I realized that, it probably the best moment of my life.
You say the best moment of your life. What does it mean, this journey, 14 games, all the way to the final game, winning against the champion, and now you are the champion of the world?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I would like to say a few words about my opponent. We all know who Ding is, and he has been one of the best players in history for several years, and to see him struggling, and to see him how much pressure he had to face, and the kind of fight he gave in this fight, in this match, it shows what a true champion he is. And no matter who, say what about Ding, for me he's like a real world champion. And this match, champions, they always step up to the moment, and obviously the past 2 years he hasn't been in great shape, but he came here, he was obviously struggling during the games. He was probably not at the best physically, but he fought in all games. He fought like a true champion, and I'm really sorry for Ding and his team. I mean, they put on a great show. I would like to thank my opponent first. This couldn't have been the same without my opponent. And my journey, it's been, since the time I started playing chess, like 6.5, 7, I've been dreaming about living this moment for more than 10 years. And every chess player wants to experience this moment, and very few get the chance, and to be one of them it can only I think the only way to explain is that I'm just living my dream. So I'd like to thank God first of all, because this whole journey, starting from qualifying to the candidates, and then coming till here, it could only be possible by God. There were so many miracles. So Yeah, firstly, thankful to God and and I'm really thankful to all the people who have been by my side in this journey. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd like to thank each and every one of them, but probably I will have to prepare my speech first, because the kind of emotion that I'm feeling right now, I'll say something stupid. So so I'll prepare something nice and then thank everyone. Yeah.
You won the candidates this year. You led India to gold this year. You stepped into the footsteps of the great Anand and fulfilled that destiny. And now, of course, all of India is cheering. What does that mean for your country that you have now taken the title back to India?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm being here representing my country in any tournament, but especially this being, such a high level event, and for the 11 years back, Vishay sir, I mean, the title was taken away from India. So I mean, when I was watching the match in 2013, I was in the stands and I was looking inside the glass box, and I thought it'll be so cool to be inside one day. And then, I mean, when Magnus won, I thought, I really want to be the one to bring back the title to India. And this dream that I had like more than 10 years ago has been the single most important thing in my life so far. So doing this for myself, for my loved ones and my country, it's like there's probably nothing better than this.
My final question before I open up to the press. That dream you talk about, you were a 7-8-year-old. Now you're an 18-year-old. You're the youngest champion in the history of this amazing game. What does that mean to you to have shattered this record?
Yeah, means a lot. I mean, it probably meant a lot to that 8-year-old than right now, because I stopped paying too much attention to the youngest, all these numbers, these records. But yeah, I mean, there is this famous clip, I think, which I did with Sagar in 2017 or something, when I said I wanted to be the youngest world champion, and now that this is not just a dream but reality, I think that that 8-year-old kid would be really happy.
Very cool. First question for the press.
First of all, Gukesh, congrats from your fans around the world and on FIDE's social media. A question for you is, what was the best part of this entire experience, on or off the chessboard?
I think the best part was probably when I entered the room for game one. I mean, the game did not go great, but I've been, as I said, in 2013, I was outside the glass box. I did not get a seat in the audience to watch the match. So at that time, I just looked at Vishay sir and Magnus, and I thought it'll be really cool to be there one day, and to actually be there and sit there and see the Indian flag next to me. It was probably the best moment.
Congrats, Gukesh. I'm Atre from Rev Sports. You are not the sort who shows emotions a lot of times. Today we saw after you won that you were in tears. And can you just take us through the feelings that went through your mind when that moment happened, when that moment arrived?
I probably got so emotional because I did not really expect to win that position. I mean, I was going to press it for as long as I could possibly press, but I thought, like, I mean, it's okay. We are going to play for 5-6 hours. It's going to end in a draw, and let's focus on the.
It's a great achievement to be the youngest world champion in history. He has made it to the final. He was playing extremely well, and he had an impressive performance in the match. But still, there was that little bit of drama at the end where suddenly Ding blundered, and what was looking like a very likely tie break, he clinched the title today itself. So that's a very, very pleasant surprise, and honestly, just a huge historic achievement.
The other thing is, Vishy, between move number 30 and thereafter this entire trading of the rook and the queen happened, and between up to 55, there was also this time trouble. Do you believe the ability to hold your nerve actually helped Gukesh a lot?
Yes, I think he managed to stay in control. Also, he held his nerve when things were not going well in the match, and then when they were going well, he managed to stay composed and calm, and that's probably a huge part of the explanation.
This time trouble, how much of a factor is it? Because Gukesh had nearly more than 60 minutes, if I remember correctly, and Ding was racing against time. He had just 10 minutes on the clock towards the end.
It's part of it, but I think the problem today was